I believe I've made my positions fairly clear on ShoeOnHead very often in the past. And ShoeOnHead, I think, is just a fucking patented grifter. Doesn't believe anything, yada yada yada, will adopt particular positions in order to suit whatever audience that she has at a particular point, or seemingly whichever fucking boyfriend she's with at the moment. And her boyfriend right now, or husband, I believe, is currently a far-right fucking nationalist, so therefore she's now going to begin to adopt more and more positions of far-right fucking nationalists. Very, very consistent pattern of behavior with ShoeOnHead. Listen, we can go through the multiple problems with someone like ShoeOnHead, but if we could just summarize in one word, it's bimbo fucking politics, alright? Head empty, don't need to think about shit, just keep saying random bullshit. I've said before, she is a Bernie-crat, right? Through and through, if you actually go through her broader sort of economic sort of proposals or desires, for lack of a better term, she's a Bernie-crat through and through. But the problem is that very often, and this is a very, very, very often problem with someone like ShoeOnHead, she just decides to go down like the far right hole of like esotericism and just grifting fucking nonsense, because guess what, that shit makes a buck right now, so she wants to make a buck, so she does this. But apparently, this is something that I heard from the timeline, apparently she's not doing that anymore. Well, that's a little interesting. You know what, I'm curious, why don't we take a look?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to inform you that rumors are indeed true. The Democrats have struck back. In the New Jersey governor's race, the Democrat won. In the Virginia governor's race, the Democrat won. And in the New York...
Oh, this is about the, okay, so this shit came out soon after a lot of those special elections that happened right around early November, where the Democrats basically swept a bunch of seats because of just how much people fucking hated the Republicans and how terrible their policies were. And this was in the midst of the government shutdown, in which the Democrats were winning before they threw that shit away. For what reason exactly? Because Chuck Schumer's a cuck.
City race, Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani defeated Andrew Cuomo to become the next mayor of America's largest city. But the question on everyone's mind is, was it just a fluke? Just easy wins in blue cities and states? Or is there something more to this? Is this a sign of things to come? Is the Democratic Party finally turning their losing streak around? Are they actually listening to the people now? Did they finally learn their lesson? No. Thanks.
No. Yeah, no. Listen, at least ShoeOnHead can acknowledge that. Good job, Shoe.
For watching. My last 3 videos about electoral politics were warning the Democratic Party that young men were moving right because the party f***ing sucks and was becoming the young men each and die movement, spanking the Democratic Party for losing because they elected one of the most unlikely—
No, that's not the reason why. That's part of the reasoning why. She's not entirely wrong. When she says that, no, I've talked about this before. The main problem with the Democratic Party is the fact that they just don't believe in anything. That's the main issue with the Democrats. They are a corporatist neoliberal party that's still trying to do the same corporatist neoliberal bullshit in 2025 and 2026, when nobody wants that shit. Everyone fucking hates it. It's not the 90s anymore. Fuck off with this bullshit. And honestly, at this point, and I think we can just operate off of this as I have no problem with, I have like literally no qualms with saying this whatsoever. I think it's like very, very fine and okay to say that the Democratic Party, or at least the leadership within the Democratic Party, not the entirety of the party, are just collaborationists with fascists. Period. End of story. I think Chuck Schumer is definitely a collaborationist with fascists. 1000%. That's not ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. I think he's just a fascist, man. You know, very often lefties like to say cut a liberal and a fascist fucking bleeds. That's not exactly accurate with people whose ideological predispositions are not liberal to begin with.
Bullshit candidates while offering absolutely nothing to voters, and defending the voters from the wrath of a bunch of liberal streamer man-children calling the voters stupid and evil for daring not to vote for Hillary Clinton and brownface. But the thesis for all 3 of those—
Yeah, by the way, that was not mostly the argument, I think, of like Vosh whatsoever. But I mean, like, let's be quite honest here. A lot of the people who do vote for fucking Trump did it based off of a vibe, and just did it simply just because of the fact that, oh, people hated the Democrats because the Democrats just don't believe in anything, and they were not willing to put anything on the table. That's mostly why.
those videos was basically the same. As the right embraces working class populism, the Democratic Party and the left will continue to fade into irrelevancy. But as I also predicted in those last videos, there might be an eventual pendulum swing, and it might be happening much sooner than I predicted. Like, how did we go from Republicans winning the popular vote, in part thanks to a lot of the young people voting, to a bunch of data showing those same young people dropping their support for the GOP already? But the interesting thing is, those young people
well, because they got lied to and they recognize that they got fucking lied to. That's the reason why, Shoe. They voted off of vibes, man. That's all that it is.
Don't seem to be moving to the Democratic Party either. Where are they going? And do the Democrats have a plan to scoop these people up? Yes, they do, and they called it, I'm not kidding, deciding to win. Deciding to win, as if the whole time they have just been simply deciding to lose. It was a choice, guys. They changed their mind and they want to win now. In this video, I will talk about why I think Zohran Mamdani won. We will go through the Democrat Party's plan to decide to win. We will briefly talk about the rise of the political commentator Nick Fuentes, the MAGA civil war, and what I like to call the inevitable rise of Shoecialism. If that sounds interesting, stick around. If it doesn't...
Oh god, she's created her own fucking political... Ugh. Fucking kill me now, dude.
You can leave. It's not like I'll miss you or anything. But baka. I know a lot of you are not very interested in politics. You come here for the fun Reddit slop, the men versus women content. Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, politics kind of seeps into your lives whether you want it to or not. So you might as well be entertained when you hear about it and have some fun with it when you can. And I just so happen to have the perfect app for that. So before we get into this political deep dive, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, one of my favorite sponsors.
Sponsors?
Ground News. Ground News is a website and an app.
Okay, listen, not to go against Ground News or whatever, listen, I'm skipping through the ad. Ground News is, I don't know, okay or something, I have no idea.
Now, let's get back to the video. For those of you familiar with the ShoeOnHead channel, you know I've harshly criticized the Democratic Party for all my career. Some say too harshly. Frankly, I don't care. And some say I'm not harsh enough on the Republicans. First of all, true, but let's be honest, that's not why you come here. You go to Kyle Kalinske for that.
Of course, like, Shoe... Okay, you purport to be a social democrat. That's why people are having a lot of problems. As Vosh accurately pointed out when he assessed your video, basically shitting on you for doing a lot of the Balenciaga bullshit. By the way, that was ShoeOnHead, right? Basically like a whole sort of very sussy campaign, particular of Balenciaga. Shoe just decided to make it all about, like, shit with fucking queer people for some fucking goddamn reason, because again, she started flirting more and more with the alt-right, and as a result of that in particular, she got pushed out of the left, started to grift more to the right, yada yada yada, because she felt slighted by the fact that ShoeOnHead basically just started a sort of like a dumb fuck idiot like right-wing conspiracy theory and decided to take no accountability for it. Because listen, ShoeOnHead, the Balenciaga stuff is just weird. It's fucking sussy. There's really nothing else to it. And when people were saying, incorrectly so, that it was about fucking queer people, what did you do? Sit by the sidelines and not say shit about it. And that's why people on the left don't like you anymore, Shoe.
Just like you go to Destiny to see opinions you can hear on CNN, or to Hassan for dog training tips. You come here to hear, golly gee willikers, I'm left-wing, and the Democrats have gone crazy. That's the shit you're here for. But are the Democrats actually getting...
Nah, classical liberalism. Of course. Known classical liberal. ShoeOnHead.
...their shit together? Or did they simply get lucky in a few blue areas? One of those blue areas being my city, New York, where Democratic Socialist candidate Zohran Mamdani won the election and will become the new mayor. And a lot of people are, like, really confused about how this happened. And if you're one of those people, you really need to keep watching. If you don't understand why Mamdani won, I'm sorry to say, but you're kind of like the liberals in 2016 who didn't understand why Trump won. It's actually extremely understandable why Zohran Mamdani won, and it's not just because New York is full of commies.
So, yeah, okay, I'll just say my shtick for as to why Zohran Mamdani won. The reason why Zohran Mamdani won is because he appealed to broader populist sentiment and actually was looking to govern the city of New York. Very, very fucking simple. Right? People believed when he said, like, I'm seeking to govern New York for New Yorkers. Period. End of story. The sort of, like, blending of, like, American patriotism and, I don't know, inner desires for them to want to do better for their fellow sort of American in comparison to the Democrats who believe in nothing. Zohran Mamdani chose to be like, you know what? Actually, I believe in stuff. I'm not like the Democratic Party who believes in nothing. I actually believe in things. And guess what? In hindsight, again, this video was from about 1 to 2 months ago. We now know that, yes, it turns out Zohran Mamdani does actually believe in things. Again, first 2 weeks of his administration, one of his major policy proposals that being universal childcare, passed. He managed to get that implemented for the people of New York City, which is huge. One of his more potentially ambitious policies implemented, which is great, fantastic, very, very good. And like I said before, I've talked about this before. If the Democrats want to see success as a party, 2026 and beyond, to not die off as a party, they need to mimic the model that Zohran Mamdani basically puts out there. Are they ever going to do that? No, absolutely the fuck not. No, they prefer to just continue being, stooges and fucking have fealty to Israel instead. Like, unironically. Chuck Schumer's whole project of wanting to keep the left, quote-unquote, pro-Israel has been an astronomical fucking goddamn failure. And we can all acknowledge this, that this is the case. So much so that he's, unironically, like, not willing to condemn the actions of fucking ICE within Minneapolis and would prefer to just say, like, well, the Baileys are telling me that that ICE and the police officers in Minneapolis need to collaborate more with ICE. It's just like, what the fuck are you talking about, Chuck? That's like literally the worst thing that you could say. But then again, we're talking about Chuck Schumer here. Chuck, like, if there's any instance of someone who could be like a complete fucking political failure, it's Chuck fucking Schumer. He's just a stooge, corporate sort of like wannabe, blah blah blah, captured by the deep state, yada 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 type shit. Okay, that's Chuck Schumer in a fucking nutshell.
Or whatever. He's objectively the best Democratic candidate that they've had in a very, very long time. Like, I know the bar is in hell there, but he's young, he's energetic, he's charismatic, and people are really tired of the White House doubling as a retirement home. And of course, I like many of his economic policies. I like the universal childcare thing, the transportation, flipping off the Christopher Columbus statue. That's the shit I don't like. Bitch, that's our fucking guy. He was a brave Italian explorer who discovered America, and in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story. I've said this many times, but
shut the fuck up, Shoe. You're doing the like 3 IQ fucking culture war bullshit. Like, there's a lot of good reasons to not like Christopher fucking Columbus. Like, get out of here with this, like, I don't know, Italian LARP bullshit. I said Shoe.
But I don't think the good left-wing policies can even exist alongside the bad left-wing policies. Like, I don't know how you can have free transportation, but also be soft on crime. Like, I don't know, like, in what world does that work out? You can't have nice, clean, free transportation if a bunch of drug addicts and violent felons are going around stabbing people and setting them on fire. You can't have nice things if you don't have rules to enforce those nice things. You know what I mean? It's always such a breath of fucking fresh air when I go...
Shoe, what the fuck is the point of bringing up crime here? Why are you bringing this up? What? Like what is the point of... Again... This is when I have consistently said, this is my, like, the main problem with ShoeOnHead. She is currently getting her bread buttered by the right wing at the moment, and as a result has to post all of their, like, stupid fucking culture war talking points. Again, Zohran Mamdani and nobody on the left agrees with any of those fucking positions. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you bringing this up? It's nonsensical.
Go back to visit my family in the suburbs of Long Island, and I go to the CVS, and the fucking toothpaste is free from their plexiglass prisons. I shouldn't have to wait 10 minutes for some poor wagey to come unlock the KG so I can buy fucking shampoo. We don't have to live that way. Maybe he'll do great, or maybe he gets into power and immediately cucks to the establishment like some other people. I don't like to talk about it. I just don't know how the hell anyone thought Andrew Cuomo was going to win. He killed a bunch of grandmas during COVID. As you admitted this week, you personally altered the state health department report to undercount the death total, to hide the death total, and then evaded and lied to these families for 5 years. So you killed a shit ton of people. For what? Plus, he doesn't even live in New York City. He doesn't live in the city he's running to be mayor of. Cuomo just kind of expected to win based on name recognition alone and being like, hey, at least I'm not the other guy. Sound familiar? Trump actually offered a vision. Make America great again. Mamdani offered a vision. A New York City you can afford. So people took a chance on him. People wanted something different. Andrew Cuomo, he had no vision or anything. Oh man, I love tuning into a debate about New York City and...
Okay. Listen, I'm not saying anything right now because, yes, that's the main fucking problem, Shoe, with the Democratic fucking Party. The fact that they are not willing to offer any vision for the future because they're just not interested because they're all captured by corporate interests, Shoe. You have talked about this broadly before, Shoe. You should know of this, Shoe. But no, you'd prefer to come up with like the stupid talking point that the right wing has specifically about the Democrats, saying like, yeah, they're just the kill all men party, and that's why they are a shitty fucking political party. It's like, no, Shoe. That's not the fucking problem. It's because they don't have a vision for the future. Because they are not interested in the future. Similar like the Republicans. The Republicans, at the very least, most establishment Republicans do not have that similar vision. Trump actually does have some form of a vision. He's lying about it, of course. He doesn't actually believe in any of it, of course. He's just doing this in order to get power. But at least it's something. Something for people to latch onto. But, you know, again, the American people decided to vote for Trump again for the second time in a row simply because he had some kind of an offer for the future in comparison to the Democrats. He was at least putting something out there in comparison to, well, most corporate establishment politics. And he used that again to, at the very least, get into power yet again. It's like, you know, rather similar to 2016 all over again. Like, let's not be like ridiculous or hyperbolic here. You can like we can broadly speaking sort of talk about a lot of the analogies, but there were some differences. I do think that this campaign that Trump won this time was definitely his worst fucking campaign. Very erratic. He barely like stayed on fucking topic. He did all of like stupid, really annoying like culture war sort of nonsense and talking points. It's like, dog, what the fuck are you talking about? He talked about a golfer's dick at some point in time. It's just like, okay, bro, yeah, like our like fucking Arnold Palmer's dick is like way more important to fucking focus on. But the thing is he was going up against the Democratic Party, who decided to be like, if we just believe in nothing and just say that we're better than the other guy, that means we're going to win. And as a result, Trump fucking won in a landslide as a result. And that's why Trump ended up winning. It's really, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's just like, it's so forehead obvious duh, but you try to explain this, like, these very basic concepts, these Republicans, quote unquote, and it's like dono wall, they don't get it.
80% of it is about another fucking country.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first?
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
I would go to Israel.
I'd make my 4th trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in?
10 out of 10 fucking answered there, of course, by Zohran Mamdani. But the only reason why, again, this was even a question to begin with was because of the fact that Andrew Cuomo, his whole campaign strategy was to just tut about fucking Israel. Like, that was literally his campaign strategy. Zohran, why are you such an anti-Semite? Why do you hate Jews so much? Like, unironically. So much so that, again, who the fuck really gives much of a flying fuck at all about where the mayor of New York City is supposed to go when the most important thing for him to care about is governing the fucking city? Which is why it was such a good 10 out of 10 fucking answer, right? Like, I commented that on that part of the debate. I'm just like, it's like, yeah, him answering that question that way is probably going to win him the primary. And guess what? Yeah, he won the primary. I was correct in my fucking assessment. How the fuck... Whoa. Daho being correct very, very often? Who would have fucking thought? But I digress. In terms of his answer to that question, 10 out of 10, no notes. Just the only way you can fucking answer that goddamn question is by saying, like, yeah, my concern is to, well, focus on the 5 boroughs and the wants and desires and the issues of New Yorkers. Which is, again, yeah, that's what you're supposed to say there. Because you're running for mayor of New York, not for the presidency or the mayoralship of fucking Tel Aviv.
Would you visit Israel?
That was the exact moment I knew Zohran was going to win. Bro was just surrounded by NPCs. I love how they're like, where would you go? And Zohran was like, I'm gonna stay here. And instead of being like, no, Zohran, the question was, where would you go? They're like, why wouldn't you go to Israel? Like, that's the answer to the question. Like, that's just the default answer to that question. His win was very much in part a direct response to the affordability crisis that many Americans are facing. So what is the GOP's answer to the affordability crisis? Oh, great news, guys. There is no affordability crisis. It doesn't exist. It's all in your head, silly. Need to save money? Simply don't buy your grandmother a Christmas present this year.
Budget. You need a plan. Also remember, adults don't need gifts, okay? Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma.
Ramsey Show co-host, by the way, for those who may not know, I believe the Ramsey Show is that one fucking show run by that British fuckwad Something Ramsey. I don't remember his exact fucking name, but it's some British fuckwad who constantly just tuts people for not being effective financial investors or whatever the fuck. Very, like, basically, if you wanted to sort of, like, understand the hatred that people have for the bourgeoisie, someone like fucking the Ramsey show, I forget the name of the host, the actual host, is pretty much like who you would point to, like, man, I fucking hate this motherfucker.
Grandma doesn't need slippers. If they don't live by you, don't get them a gift. Now's not the time to spend and break the bank.
Zohran's win was also basically a direct response to the housing crisis in America. So what is the GOP's response to the pie-in-the-sky, commie gobbledygook that Zohran Mamdani is selling? Surely they have a better solution.
Here we go. The White House is floating this idea.
one.
Bill Pulte is saying, thanks to President Trump, we can indeed work on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer. How does that...
Oh yeah, I remember that. This proposal is genuinely fucking insane, dude. Yeah, dude, we're basically, our proposal for housing, for the housing crisis right now, keeping you stuck in a debt trap for the rest of your life. It's just like, yeah, dude, if that's really going to appeal well to the American people. Yeah, debt trap, rest of your life. Very, very cool.
Does that work in dollars? Here you go. 30-year fixed mortgage right now. You're paying $2,038 a month, principal and interest on a $400,000 home. At the bottom, under 50 years...
Oh, by the way, it was that Brian Pulte guy who just said that to Trump, and he was just like, yeah, well, I like that. That sounds like a great proposal. And he just went with it. Because, again, it's an administration that's surrounded with just sycophants.
You save a couple $100 a month, $1,822 principal and interest. That is proposed. Do you like this idea?
I do not like this idea.
Not lowering prices, not building more housing, no, just being a good little slave to the bank for 50 years. You might as well be a rentoid forever in this case. Like, at least you don't have to fix your own dishwasher. You will own nothing and be happy. Doesn't that sound great, Gen Z? Vote for us. We'll release the Epstein files and finally drain the swamp. Awesome. Finally, justice. Here comes the Epstein files phase 1. We got all your favorite E-celebs here. Don't you think that's a little tacky? I mean, like, this is an international child trap. The Epstein files are on my desk. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's what we...
Okay, see, this is what I do not like about fucking ShoeOnHead. The constant infantilization that she will do of fucking right-wingers. This is what they fucking wanted, right? This was what they fucking wanted. Don't infantilize these people, right? They always wanted it to all be a fucking spectacle. It's a fucking, again, administration run by a bunch of podcasters. We know that these guys are just a bunch of podcasters. Like, Dan Bongino got mad about the fact that he'd often have to do a lot of fucking paperwork as deputy head of the FBI. It's like, dog, you're working for one of the most powerful federal policing institutions on the planet. Of course, there's going to be a fuck ton of paperwork. No fucking shit. But then again, he just wanted to do his stupid sloppy toppy, dumbass fucking podcast grift shit. Because again, for these people, it was always about the grift to begin with. So don't infantilize these people for the fact that, I don't know, they should constantly have a bunch of Fell for It Again awards. Like, honestly, like, Fell for It Again award for conservatives, as always.
We've been waiting for. Well? Oh, they don't exist. Wait, what? Yeah, the Epstein files don't exist. They're a Democrat hoax. But you just said, hey, what the fuck? That's my wallet. Sorry, Israel needs new weapons. Bye. What do you want, Democrat? Vote for us. Why? What do you have to offer? Hey, that's my wallet again. What are you people doing? Sorry. Israel needs new weapons. Bye. The Epstein files are a really big deal.
Guys, it's almost as if there's a problem, broadly speaking, with the establishment of both parties. And again, it's always been about corporatocracy for these people. Oh, crazy. I know. I've said this before, and a lot of other left-leaning commentators have said this as well. We were correct. Again, we were just too fucking early about it. Oh, Trump turned out to be another neoconservative, and he was a liar the whole time? Oh, we were right about that. Again. But no one fucking chose to believe it. Very, very fucking cool.
This is not a partisan issue. You should absolutely care about an international child trafficking, a blackmail operation consisting of the most powerful people in the world. And anyone telling you to move on is coping, gaslighting, or in on it. If whatever is in there is so damning that it is a national security risk, the people deserve to know. Like, I don't know about you, but if we are paying taxes to a bunch of satanic...
It's because of Israel. Let's be honest here. It's partially because of fucking Israel. We know that one of the dudes who, God, what was his name? Ghislaine Maxwell's father, I forget his name, This dude was unironically above Mossad. Unironically, bro was above Mossad. So that is why they are citing national security concerns. And I mean, with some of the stuff, again, because this came out before some of the other stuff came out, so we have hindsight now. Part of the reason for as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene left the Republican Party and decided to resign from her post in the House is because of the fact that A, Trump decided to be a retributive asshole after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I don't know why you didn't clue into that the first time, Marjorie. He's always been like that, but whatever. And also because of the fact that he was just doing the cover-up that he was doing for the Epstein files. Talking about having a tantrum about this because of the fact that she decided to vote with the discharge petition launched by Thomas Massie to force a floor on the vote of the House. I've talked about this before. Also because she had her own sort of like revenge tour. She wanted to get back at a bunch of at Trump specifically for the fact that she had higher political ambitions and Trump actively snubbed her. So there's also that is a factor as well. You know, lots of reasonings for as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene had her own particular grievances with Donald Trump and the broader sort of MAGA coalition and movement or whatever, right? Lots and lots of differing reasons. Part of it is revenge, part of it is because of the Epstein files, and part of it is also because of what's the name of it? Because of the fact that she's basically been actively fucking snubbed by the sort of and basically like all the promises of MAGA have just not been sort of recognized. Yada yada. Listen, a lot of reasons, lots and lots of fucking reasons. Okay. And the whole revenge tour that she wanted to do, obviously. He unironically said, Trump that is, I'm rambling here a little bit, that he's like, Marjorie, I don't know why you're doing this. You're going after my friends. Why are you doing this, Marjorie? Why are you giving me such a hard time on this for no reason, Marjorie? You're supposed to just let me hang out with all of my pedophile friends because they're all my best pedophile friends. I love my pedophile friends. And you're just not supposed to pay attention to any of this. It's like, well, that's not how that works, Trump. Like, people are going to have some very obvious, accurate concerns saying, like, why are you so, you know, because again, see, he did a CBS interview where he said, like, yeah, we'll release the Epstein files. But, yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of stuff in there that's not, like, 100% accurate. It's kind of weird. I don't know. There might be kind of a lot of bad stuff in there. And it's just like, why are you saying this? That's extremely suspicious of you to be saying that. Like, it's almost as if you're trying to cover up something. And immediately, and understandably so, people got fucking suspicious. I got fucking suspicious when I also heard that as well. It's like, why would you say that? Your base has been constantly clamoring for the release of these Epstein files for like forever. And now, again, bottom of the ninth inning, when you say you're about to release the files, all of a sudden, oh, there's no files there and you're not releasing them. It's like, okay, that means you are definitely in them. And there's a Wall Street Journal report that says that he is definitely in there. And that Pam Bondi told him that he pops up in there multiple times. And then all of a sudden, well, the whole administration had to come up with like one of the most like ham-fisted ways to try to do a cover-up for this. And it failed absolutely miserably. And, well, Trump is now suffering the consequences for the fact that his dumbass was definitely in the fucking Epstein files. This was the magnum opus for most of these, like, conservatives for, like, the longest time ever. A lot of the conspiratorial conservatives within the sort of broader MAGA coalition. And to hear their supposed savior, who was meant to also go in there and take down all the pedophiles and stop the adrenochrome harvesting rituals or whatever the fuck. Hearing him basically say that there is no client list and that the Epstein files are all hoax and all of that is just like, oh, so we've just been lied to this whole time. Because again, listen, here's the thing with conspiracists and conspiracy theories. The problem with a lot of conspiracists is the fact that a lot of the conclusions off of the grain of truth that they are operating off of are batshit insane. And that's where you lose most people. It's just like, yeah, you know, I agree with this. And then they'll just be like, okay, so this is why the Jews are basically in on this thing. It's just like, well, that's where you're starting to fucking lose me. And like a lot of the stuff that you keep saying seems very spurious, kind of insane, kind of random, and doesn't make really much sense to me. Which is where most average people sort of just get like lost, and it's just like, what are you talking about? You seem like you're an insane person. And that's why most of these like sort of conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists tend to sort of fall apart. And I don't have the sort of general broader appeal that they are supposed to. But again, it is correct to be like skeptical of the government. And you should always be skeptical of specifically like Democratic and Republican administrations. They always do a bunch of like deep state, probably pro-pedophilia bullshit. That's not like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say whatsoever. Not at all. It's just the conclusions that you have to get to, man. The conclusions. The ways that you get to these theories that you are. You guys really need to clean that up and try to present some form of evidence. Because here's the thing. With a lot of conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists, most of them during the early aughts tend to be left-leaning. Of the very few left-leaning people that existed within the United States of America. Most of them tended to be on the left and anti-authoritarian, generally speaking. But then all that shit got completely subsumed by the right. And it became the sort of like, well, you could just operate with the thought-terminating cliche of just like, well, this dude's a fucking conspiracy theorist and is just saying a bunch of fucking stupid nonsense. Why should we listen to anything this dumbass has to say about anything? They're inherently fucking ridiculous. And it's just like, well, yeah, considering a lot of the stuff they're saying, I can't really operate off of any other assumption besides like, yeah, this person is just a nutter and is just saying a bunch of fucking stupid fuck shit, right? So for a lot of these like Trump supporters who are all inherently conspiratorial or lean more towards conspiracism because of A, they are in a cult, and B, they are very, very anti-intellectual, like Trump. The whole thing with the Epstein files, well, that was their magnum opus, and their quote-unquote God King said like, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. There's nothing here, actually. All of you people are stupid for believing in this stuff. And it's just like, well, what the fuck, man? This is like 10 years of my life that I've poured into, like, looking into this fucking conspiracy theory. And you're telling me it's just a bunch of gobbledygook? Nah, disagree with that. That's a bunch of bullshit. And, it started to make a bunch of people leave in sort of droves. Now, again, we are talking about Trump supporters here, and these people very often have the memories of fucking goldfish. So a lot of them will tend to forget about a lot of the sort of fuck shit that happened with the Epstein files, right? Like, unironically, very often, it is just like jingling keys with a lot of these people more often than not. Those are not very good keys to jingle. These keys, there you go. Very often, like, these people are just operating off of vibes. And that's generally speaking what most politics has become now. It's all vibes. Nothing fucking matters. Who the fuck gives a shit about any of this stuff? Vibes. Just say a bunch of fuck shit. Who cares? Blah, 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 blah. And that's, like, one of the biggest issues. And there's a lot of complicated reasonings for as to why this is the case as well. Education. Dog shit. Generally speaking, within America, because of a lot of the defunding that has been done, the broader sort of death of education that has happened in America. There's a lot of reasonings for as to why this is the case, and we could spend a very, very long time going into those reasonings. The general sort of problem, the general sort of issue with a lot of conspiracy theorists is the fact that they often present a lot of sort of, I was going to say like facts and cases in a very, very like ridiculous, sort of like very low amount of evidence way, such that people are just going to be like, well, now you're losing me. I don't fucking agree with this. I think what you're saying is a bunch of fucking nonsense. Like, I'm going off on a little bit of a ramble here, a bit of a tangent, but broadly speaking, the takeaway here is the Epstein files was the magnum opus for a lot of these people, and Trump was like their eternal god savior who was supposed to sort of release a lot of this information about all the pedophiles and stuff like that. But it turns out, and this has been said before, by a bunch of lefties, even of liberals, Trump has always been a pal with fucking Epstein, has always palled around with fucking Epstein. You guys are shocked Pikachu facing that more than likely he's going to protect all those people. Like, why are you surprised about any of this? This is, broadly speaking, one of the most corrupt, blatantly corrupt administrations that has ever fucking existed. So, like, I don't know. It really, it's just one of those cases where it's just like, it's very difficult to feel much sympathy for a lot of these people. It's just tough. It's just difficult.
Files. I would like to know. That is information I would like to know. Like, I already know we're doing that, but I would like some confirmation. Okay, so literally as I am filming this, Trump is saying he is releasing the Epstein files. So I guess they weren't a hoax. I'm gonna be so honest. I have no idea what the f is going on, you guys. I'm sure when this...
He's lying, Shoe. He's just a liar. Occam's razor, honestly. It's just... sometimes it really is just as simple as, like, Shoe, he's just a liar, man. Like, that's all that it is. He's just a fucking liar.
Video gets posted, there's already going to be more things that have happened. Also, Mike Johnson apparently said they need to make changes to the files to make sure we, quote, don't do permanent damage to the political system. If releasing the Epstein files would do damage to the political system, then so be it. Then it deserves to be damaged. It deserves to be destroyed. Just release the files. After all, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Isn't that right, government? But it wasn't just the Epstein files thing that has MAGA feeling a little demoralized lately.
Does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
We've talked about this a few times on this channel, actually very recently in the male loser epidemic video. The no talented Americans thing is a myth pushed on us by corpos and billionaires, so they can hire foreign workers who will work for less money and won't unionize. Worker drones who will work under the coercion of deportation, essentially creating infinite scab labor. Even though there are so many Americans in these fields looking for jobs. But those spoiled Americans will ask for a living wage so they can live in a 600-foot square apartment.
And also because they know their rights more. Same thing happens in Canada, by the way, with the, what's the name of the, program? God, I'm so bad with fucking names. But we have a similar program, which Amnesty International has said is tantamount to fucking slavery. Thank you, Canada. Very, very fucking cool. It's the Foreign Workers Program. There we go. The name came back to me. Yeah, we have a similar program as well in Canada called the Foreign Workers Program, which essentially does the exact same thing of allowing corporations to be able to hire a bunch of very, very cheap labor.
How dare they? We can't do that. So import 1 billion immigrants. After all, it's good for business.
Folks are not thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States.
If we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business.
Unfortunately, America does feel like...
Guys, I think there might be a problem with colleges being run as a fucking business. The fact that fucking colleges can have wealth funds and shit like that might be kind of a bad thing when it's the original purposes of colleges and university is for higher places of learning.
Like nothing but 3 corporations in a trench coat. But America is not a business. America is not a corporation. It is a nation. The contrast of what Trump is saying here compared to how...
Shoe, I don't know how many times this needs to be said. Everyone has fucking said this is the main problem. You can't run a country like it's a fucking business. Like, yeah, no shit. And the left has been saying this consistently. Oh, man, dude. It's... I don't know. Like, again, key jingling, nothing fucking matters, the death of critical education in America. We've talked about a lot of the main reasons for as to why Trump ended up winning again. Broadly speaking, also mentioning of the fact that people just voted for Trump based off of the vibes and the fact that he was able to, again, lie about the fact that he cares about affordability.
He used to talk is staggering. Republicans embracing populism, at least rhetorically, is what gave rise to Donald Trump and fundamentally changed the way Republicans do politics in America. If you go back and watch the debates of Donald Trump in 2016, it's crazy.
We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. They lied. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were...
Trump used to support the Iraq war, by the way. But then again, Hillary Clinton's never going to make that fucking argument in 2016 because she was obviously all for Iraq.
And they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
I remember being like, damn, that's not how politicians in general really talked at the time. Like, we would see it from Bernie Sanders and maybe like Ron Paul, but to get up on stage in a Republican debate in front of Republicans...
Ron Paul is not a fucking populist, by the way. Don't get it fucking twisted, Shoe.
Republican donors, saying that kind of shit was unheard of. Bro was getting booed. Trump won in 2016 by decrying the bloodlust and warmongering of the Republican Party, but also by speaking to the economic woes of the average working class American. Basically saying, I see you, to people who felt like they haven't been seen by either party in a very long time. Like, I saw people in my life, my neighbors and stuff, that were all like Obama voters, like just flipped to Trump, and now like all of Long Island. Long Island is like the Florida of the Northeast, bro. It is like Trump country there now. Before Trump... Oh, my nuggies are here. My nuggies are here. 1 second.
I'm really curious to see what, like, I don't know, the sort of, like, vestiges of Cuomo... Because I guarantee you, I don't know if Long Island all went for Andrew fucking Cuomo. I'm thinking of Staten Island. I might be mixing my New York islands here, okay? I might be doing a little bit of New York racism, and I apologize for that, New Yorkers, okay? I might be mixing my fucking dipshit islands or some shit. Probably am. But Staten Island, I believe, was still the ones who voted for the majority of Cuomo. That's where the majority of most conservatives in New York, generally speaking, sort of, well, live, is on that island.
1 second. I must go get my nuggies. It's nuggie time.
Nuggies?
34-year-old woman, by the way. Mother, by the way. Before Trump, the Democrats basically relied on talking about how the Republican Party didn't care about the working class. But eventually, the problem for Democrats was the working class didn't care about them. But now it seems like the Republican Party is going back on all that and becoming the Bush-era neoconservative party again, right as they're winning.
Okay, problem, Shoe. This was the same during Trump's first administration as well. Again, Trump, in terms of warmongering, multiple shadow wars within Africa, the drone strike amount that Trump did went up by 432% over Obama, and Obama is broadly seen as the quote-unquote drone striker in chief, right? That's how people remember Obama fondly as. Obama, he loves to bomb people with drones. It's one of his favorite activities he loves to do, very much so. So, again, this is not something that's, like, this is something that's happened before. This is, broadly speaking, behavior that's already occurred. We know these people are just a bunch of fucking liars. They've always been liars. Trump is a serial fucking liar. This isn't, like, ridiculous. The people have been, broadly speaking, pointing this out before. It's just that people were not pointing out that Trump was a liar in effective ways that would appeal to the sort of general Republican base, right? That was the main sort of problem. They would just be like, Trump is just a liar because he's just like a stinky meanie bobini. And that's why he kind of sucks. He sucks because he's just a stinky pinky. And he likes to lie all the time. And not point out the fact that, you know, Trump in the past has supported the Iraq War. Yeah, he has. Trump in the past has also supported all of the deregulations and tax cuts that Bush did. Yeah, he did that. They were never willing to point out all of the exact same lies and positions that he fucking believed in or pretended to fucking believe in because A, he was never really consistent in any of his beliefs to begin with, and also B, they also agreed with that and all that shit as well. Again, it's as George Carlin himself has said before, it's a big fucking club and your dumbass isn't in it.
Racing freaks like Lindsey Graham.
So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II.
Republicans, is that what you want your party to be? Lowering taxes and killing people? We tried that.
Yes! Yes. This is the Republican Party. This has always been the Republican Party. This has always been them, Shoe. I like, honestly, like, I don't want to infantilize these fucking people because I don't think they deserve to be fucking infantilized. I really don't. This has always been the Republicans. Trump is the evolution of the Republican Party. Period. End of story. This was inevitable. Ever since fucking Ronald Reagan won the presidency, there was the necessary conditions for a Trump-like figure to basically rise up and become the president of the United States was set. This was an inevitability. Something like this was going to happen eventually. It was always a matter of when and not if.
that already. To many Republicans, the solution to the affordability crisis wreaking havoc on Americans is simply trusting the free market, working hard, and if that doesn't work, they bust out all reliable.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. I know that well,
either that or quantitative easing.
We've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
Ah, yes, the classic.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Real quick, Ben. Yeah, I didn't know that America was a known nomadic fucking state over in the fucking steppe, my dude. Like, okay, bro, nice meme.
Just move from economic zone 67 to economic zone 69. I don't know, man. Maybe some people actually like where they live. Maybe they want to make their community better. This is like the libertarian version of just deal with it when you talk to leftists about crime. Like, no, we shouldn't just deal with it. We shouldn't just move. Maybe we can make the cities in our country.
Yeah, that's not the main contention that left-leaning people have about crime. No. Broadly speaking, when lefties talk about crime, they talk about economic problems and poverty, because that's generally the main driver of crime, Shoe. It's not just forehead deal with it. It's nonsense. This is the low IQ fucking right-wing bullshit coming through.
Livable and safe. Maybe better things are possible, actually. My husband and I moved away from our families because of his job, and it f***ing sucks. It sucks raising kids without an extended family around. Say hi to grandma on FaceTime. Not normal. Not natural. When I was growing up, it was like aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents were just coming in and out of my house, like bringing over food, like, hey, I got some mancati. I would be babysat by my cousins and my aunts, and because we moved away, my kid won't have.
So, by the way, this is a broader sort of, I've done a video about this as well. Generally speaking, this is a sort of yearning for community that essentially Gen Z and I believe, like, you know, beyond want to sort of have a return to, right? People, broadly speaking, have an understanding that the vestiges of community has been fucking lost. Now, there's a lot of complicated historical and sociological reasons for why this is the case. If I could just go through some of them real quick. Suburbanization, car infrastructure, the petrodollar, the sort of implementation of the car as the main sort of form of transportation for America because of really stupid, idiotic cultural signifiers, and not because it's economically sort of efficient, but whatever. And public transportation obviously being way more economically efficient and having better outcomes. Look at every sort of European and sort of Asian fucking country who have significantly better transportation systems in comparison to that of America and Canada. We'll throw in the Canadians into this as well. Bastards. My bastard fucking goddamn country. Fuck you, Canada. Suck my dick, eat my shit. Just to name a few problems. A few of the reasons for as to why we find ourselves in the current positions that we find ourselves in. A lot of people have, broadly speaking, sort of had enough of the sort of materialist culture that was pushed, broadly speaking, during the 50s, the time of the highest economic prosperity for humanity. People have, broadly speaking, have had enough of that shit, and as a result are seeking to, well, have better in their lives. Have some form of community, you know, something going for themselves. Better fucking wages, better fucking workers' rights. This is what people sort of inherently want. But unfortunately, such things, well, those interrupt the pocketbooks of the powers that currently be right now. And is ShoeOnHead really going to address or talk about any of those particular issues? Yes, but then she's going to do like a really idiotic, like right-wing sort of spin on it. And essentially make her sort of point basically moot. She will very often undermine her own point that she is accurately making, saying like, yes, there's a very, very broad, large problem with the fact that there is outsized and undue control that is being held by a lot of people within power, between the corporations and the rich, blah, 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 blah. Which is something, I've said this before and I'll say it again, this is something that the right will never fucking address because they are not interested in addressing any of that. They never have been interested in addressing any of those particular fucking issues. Again, the right is about maintenance of hierarchy and systems of control. The current hierarchy that exists is highly beneficial to the right. So guess what? They will want to continue to maintain it for as long as they physically possibly can, Shoe. That's the main sort of problems here, and why a lot of lefties accurately have a lot of criticisms of ShoeOnHead, saying like, dog, the biggest problem with you, besides the fact that you don't do any reading and you engage things in a very like dumbass, bitchy bimbo kind of a way, and refuse to learn anything from any of your own mistakes whatsoever, is also the fact that you seem wholeheartedly unwilling to sort of accept any criticism for shit that people say. I know that like a bunch of her fans are probably going to be fucking annoying about all this stuff, because again, the thing with ShoeOnHead is that she's like right there and she understands a lot of the problems, and she does a lot of the exact same sort of like populist sort of talking points about issues happening within the United States of America. The problem is that very often, and because this is the current grift that she's on, she has to like splice in all of the dumb fuck like low IQ right-wing fucking talking points as well, because that's the current audience that she's, well, appealing to at the moment. Yeah. Guys, it turns out audience capture is just very, very fucking cringe. That's one of the biggest fucking problems. Because here's the thing. Like, again, she's always, like, right there in terms of the populist rhetoric, but then she just basically veers off and just misses.
Of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's...
Oh, and then she, like, blames the left for this. And just... And this is as Vosh said. I agree with what Vosh's position was on this. Just seemingly will have kid gloves with the right, but will be hyper fastidious and more critical of the left, when there is one side that is definitely much worse on these problems in comparison to the other, and that is, of course, the right.
One reason many young people are putting off having children: the complete lack of community, the lack of a village. If you can't afford to live where your family lives,
well, no, another problem is because of economics. People can't afford to have kids as well.
Move to fucking Gary, Indiana, where there's nobody around and no jobs and no family and no friends, but hey, at least you can afford a house there. That's not how life should work, Ben. Maybe take a step back and try to understand. Am I doing bird hands too much? You guys have made me so insecure about the fucking bird hands thing ever since this meme. Okay, listen, I'm a woman, okay? We are programmed to scold children, and when no children are around, we scold people on the internet, okay? Anyway, Nick Fuentes is a far-right commentator and a controversial figure to say the least. But his main topic he covers is Israel, which is an extremely hot topic that many other right-wing commentators seem to not want to touch. And the rare times they do touch it, it's...
That's certainly a way to say that the main topic that Nick Fuentes covers is Israel. That's a way to put that.
Them telling you not to talk about it, questioning why you care so much, or shape-shifting into the woke mob they fought against for so many years, calling you names, calling for you to be censored. What's funny is they didn't care about any of Nick Fuentes' rants on, like, race or women. They only started caring when his rants on Israel were blowing up. Nick recently did an interview with Tucker Carlson, which completely...
It's almost as if they've always been Zionists to begin with. Also, I'm very... Well, okay, now we have hindsight going into all of this. I wonder what ShoeOnHead would think of the fact that Nick Fuentes supported the regime change within Venezuela, because we all know that the Grifters were not particularly happy about that one. Probably might talk about that at some point. But Nick Fuentes is just a fucking grifter. The only reason why he's gotten the prominence that he has right now is because, again, Nick Fuentes, what he's essentially trying to do right now is to build his own political movement that's supposed to come out of the rotting carcass that is the current MAGA movement. And he's been effective in that sort of way for one reason and one reason only. People, broadly speaking, understand that there are differing standards that are held for fucking Israel in comparison to that of the United States of America, and people really do not fucking like any of that shit.
Ignited the MAGA civil war that was brewing on the right for some time now. It got so ridiculous that even Chuck Schumer went on the Senate floor and called for a disavowal of Nick Fuentes. Sir, with all due respect, none. Why do politicians need a resolution in the Senate to disagree with a citizen? Hello, I have gathered you all here today to disavow Hitler Bussy 420. People can't afford groceries, Charles. Ben Shapiro in particular has spent the last few months...
Well, I mean, we all know... fucking Chuck Schumer is just completely cucked the fucking, like, deep state in Israel. That's why he says the things that he says, right? Like, that's, like, unironically, that's just true.
extremely confused and angry about Zohran Mamdani and Nick Fuentes becoming popular in the mainstream, all while his numbers continue to drop. I honestly don't think he understands what is happening here, so I am going to explain to you, Ben, what exactly is going on here. The American dream does not exist anymore for most people. Young people followed advice that worked for older generations, and it got them nowhere. Young people are tired of this stale, moldy, old, dead consensus that has dominated American politics for a very long time.
This is very similar to the talking points that urgently firing also said, which I do agree with, by the way. I don't disagree with what ShoeOnHead is saying here. Yeah, people want a sense of community. People have had enough of the stupid sort of consumerist corporate culture that exists within America. I'm certainly fucking sick of it as well. In fucking Canada, it's very similar up here. I'm also fucking sick and tired of all that bullshit. And yeah, people want to have a broader sense of fucking community. But guess what? Powers that be, that being a lot of the fucking lobbies, the car lobby, the oil and gas lobby, fossil fuel lobbies and whatnot, military-industrial complex, don't want that. Why? Because of the fact that they just want a bunch of money, man. Sometimes it really is just Occam's razor. It's just a bunch of people who just want a bunch of money.
Long time. The one that dragged us into all these foreign wars and sold us out for some cheap plastic shit from China. Young people are tired of being told to sit down and shut up and pledge allegiance to the free market in a country that seems to not give a shit about them, as well as a foreign country they have absolutely no connection to. For so long, establishment hacks and establishment shills looked at the issues bothering the people and just kind of dismissed them. Can't afford to live where you grew up? Just move. Don't like that the toothpaste is locked behind plexiglass? Just deal with it. Think it's kind of f***ed up how you work 40 hours a week and still can't afford to pay rent? What are you, some kind of communist? You don't like funding a genocide with your tax dollars? What are you, anti-Semitic? If you don't address the issues of the people will gravitate towards those who are addressing those issues. It's not Mamdani's fault he won. It's yours. It's not Nick Fuentes' fault he's popular. It's yours. The tragedy of Ben Shapiro is that he led a life worshipping the free market, only to lose in the free marketplace of ideas. Now, with all this neocon rhetoric coming out of the GOP, are the Democrats going to pick up the populist ball that they are fumbling? Are they actually going to get their shit together? Well, they are trying, because they have written an article called Deciding to Win, where after interviewing over 300,000...
No, I mean, the answer is just no to all these questions, obviously. The Democrats are, again, I've talked about this before, but the Democrats are also captured by the exact same fucking interests. It's corporate oligarchic fucking interests. That's the main problem.
American voters from both parties. They may have finally discovered the secret to winning.
To give ourselves the best chance to win, we recommend the following changes to our approach. Democrats need to 1. Focus our messaging on an economic program centered on lowering costs, growing the economy, creating jobs, and expanding the social safety net. 2. Advocate for popular economic policies. Moderate our positions where our agenda is unpopular, including on issues like immigration, public safety, energy production, and some identity and cultural issues.
So basically it took you guys 10 years, millions of dollars, and dozens of Microsoft team meetings to come to the conclusion that everyone has been saying forever. You wasted a decade worshipping at the altar of mentally ill Karens, and now you're acting like, hey, what if we were normal? Is it ground...
This analysis is not fucking entirely correct. Okay. Yes. The main problem with the Democrats is the fact that they decided to completely shun economic populism, but it's not because of mentally ill woke Karens or whatever. No, that's not the fucking main reasoning, Shoe. The reason is because, again, the Democrats and the Republican Party have the exact same fucking interests and have had the exact same fucking interests for the past 40 years at this point. And that is, corporations and the fucking rich. That's the main sort of problem here, right? So again, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, ShoeOnHead is correct in some of the prescriptions, but then very often it'll just kind of like veer off course and just like go into like a random fucking direction where it's just like, okay, well now you're just fucking losing me because it's not, you're not entirely wrong, but you're not entirely right either.
Breaking political discovery. You. I could have told you all this for free. It is a bad sign that it took you over a decade to come to the same conclusion.
And also, again, yada yada the political consultancy class and its fucking consequences have affected the Americans for the latter part of about 2 generations.
That my audience has come to like a decade ago. And they're all retarded. Please reflect on this, I beg of you. Also, what do you mean you had unpopular positions on public safety? Like, why would you even say that out loud? Yeah, let's vote for the party that admits it was wrong about the issue of crackheads shanking people in the street. I love this quote from Nancy Pelosi randomly shoved in here.
Winning an election is a decision. You make a decision to win, and then you make every decision in favor of winning.
How deep? How thought-provoking? Thank you, Nancy. What would we do without you? probably win an election.
Democrats have changed our focus. In comparison with the Democratic Party of 2012, today's Democratic Party is more focused on issues like climate change, democracy, abortion, and identity and cultural concerns, and less focused on the economy and middle class. The table below shows this shift. Through an analysis of the prevalence of selected words in the 2024 Democratic Party platform, in comparison with the 2012 Democratic Party platform.
This whole study is really interesting, but I need you guys to see this chart because when I first saw this, the scream I screamed. So Democrats since 2012 have increased their rhetoric on race by, sit down, 1,137%. On the gays, 1,044%. Their rhetoric on men has decreased by 51%. It is now negative 51%. On fathers, negative 100%. They just stopped talking about that shit. Veterans, negative 31. F them. The economy, negative 51 because nobody cares about that, right? The middle class, 79%, but I guess you can't really talk about something that is disappearing. And jobs, negative 47%. It somehow gets worse. Apparently voters trust Republicans more on the most important issues to them and trust Democrats the most on the...
By the way, that this has completely flipped. I'm just like letting her say her point here because it's not entirely accurate because again, the Republicans also do not talk about policy like this either. They do not give a shit about any sort of economic emancipatory sort of positions either. They're full of shit. Again, both parties are wholeheartedly captured by the exact same interests, that being corporations and the rich, which is something that, again, leftists have been pointing out for the latter part of, 40 fucking years, and everyone has been saying, like, yeah, these are all the problems. If they don't get addressed, there's going to be big problems. Oh, none of it's getting addressed? Oh, and all the big problems are here now. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever.
Least important issues to them. Like, they literally care the least about LGBT, but trust Democrats the most with it. The most popular Democratic policies among voters are things like lowering drug prices, banning stock trading, expanding Medicare, and raising the minimum wage. While the most unpopular Democratic policies are things like abolishing the police, providing free healthcare to illegal immigrants, and affirmative action. You're telling me this for the first time. Democrats, here is some advice for free. You can't.
Okay, they don't, like, problem immediately. Democrats don't fucking run on these issues. Nobody fucking runs on these issues. I don't know how many times this has to be said to you fucking morons. What fucking Democratic politician has run on defund the fucking police? Providing, I don't know, what was it, healthcare or whatever the fuck to illegal migrants? Okay, first off, probably not a good idea to have a bunch of illegal migrants just randomly dying out in the fucking streets from easily preventable diseases. Not a great look, makes you look kind of bad. Just gonna have to throw that out there real quick. This wouldn't be a problem if America also had a universal healthcare system, but whatever. This is America and all of its inherent contradictions. Always rearing their fucking ugly goddamn heads. Consistently with America. This is America. Don't catch you slipping up. These are, broadly speaking, things that people really don't give much of a shit about. Like, yeah. You know what? Okay. Here's the thing. Very often with the Democrats and the Republican Party, they do not engage with most of the sort of issues that most people care about because, again, captured by corporate interests. Republicans also consistently love to fucking talk about culture war talking points and issues because that's what's been popular on their base and in social media for the latter part of about 10 years. Something that you also contributed to, Shoe. You've contributed to that. When people want to talk about more sort of important economic populist sort of positions, a lot of dumbasses online prefer to talk about culture war points because everyone, broadly speaking, knows that when it comes to actual fucking policy, Republicans have fucking nothing. Democrats, at the very least, have some prescriptions for policy to improve material conditions, but it's always going to be something that's always going to be just barely enough around the edges and is not going to shake up things too much. But will still maintain the same fundamental sort of power structures. Republicans could give less of a flying fuck about any of that shit. They don't care. Like, they don't really give much of a flying fuck about any of that whatsoever. So, because they would prefer to have people eat shit and die. But if it means the minorities can eat shit and die a little more, that's a sacrifice that they're willing to make. They don't give a fuck, right? Republicans, wholeheartedly captured by their own sort of fucking racist interests. That's not ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. That's just a fact. That's just true, right? So, it's a fucking... I don't know how many times this has to be said, but it really is just one of those things where, again, George Carlin, it's a big fucking club, and your dumbass is not fucking in it, right? And that's what it purely is. It's a real big club, and you are just not in it, right? We all, broadly speaking, understand that Congress operates with the interests of one particular class of people in mind, consistently. And that is, the fucking rich, who has been consistent in terms of calling out that behavior amongst both fucking parties. The fucking left, right? And now, you could just be like, well, Daho, aren't you being a little dishonest here? ShoeOnHead is talking about corporate fucking Democrats. Is she? Because very often, and this is one of the problems that I have with fucking ShoeOnHead, she kind of blurs that line and kind of says both of them at the same time. She's never very consistent on this. So is she actually talking about corporate Democrats when she says this? I don't know. I'm going to assume, I guess, maybe. There's no way of knowing 100% for certain because ShoeOnHead has been whiff-waffly about this in the past. So we don't really know 100% for certain. We can operate off of the assumption that she's saying these things. I can only operate in sort of good faith here. But I have no idea. We don't really fucking know exactly. Because again, ShoeOnHead very, very often will just be like, throw sort of like both camps in because fuck it, who cares? I don't have to be actively responsible with my own fucking platform. Who gives a fuck about any of that shit? Fuck you, don't be a cucked lefty. But it turns out, if we're talking about important issues within politics, such as that of economics, being consistent about this stuff actually kind of fucking important. Very, very, very critical, actually. But ShoeOnHead never really does any of the due diligence for that whatsoever.
Just be MAGA light. Why would people drink Mr. Pibb when Dr. Pepper is right there? You know what I'm saying? You gotta bring something different, something better to the table. And that different should be working class focused economic populism. I don't just want 2 neocon parties, okay? But all this is pointless when it's clear the Dems are not changing at all.
Too late. It's always been 2 neocon fucking parties and has been ever since Ronald Reagan. Welcome to fucking Reaganism. Welcome to fucking neoliberalism, Shoe. I thought you knew about this shit already.
They're just gonna change their messaging. They're putting pretty wrapping paper and a bow on a big fat smelly turd. There's a chance that the Democrats may win based entirely on Orange Man bad. Again. Which means they might get into office by learning absolutely f***ing nothing. Again. Then the voters will go, oh my god, nothing has changed, and then they'll vote for...
Well, that's because, again, nobody ever fucking learns anything. This is American politics. We're dealing with a bunch of lumpen pearl peasant servile dipshits, right? On both the side of the Democrats and also the Republicans. But more so on the side of the fucking Republican Party.
Republican. American politics is just a revolving door of villains, isn't it? Rest assured, whoever wins, we lose. If you're actually gonna do this shit, if you're actually gonna do what you're saying in this little article, you better be going whole hog, not just the tip. I'm talking embracing Shoecialism.
Oh god, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself.
For many years, I have been smeared as many things. Grifter, flip-flopper, fence-sitter, racist, sexist, homophobic.
I mean, you are definitely a grifter and are definitely a flip-flopper because, again, you're appealing to right-leaning people because that's the current fucking vibe right now. Like, that's definitely a fact. Is ShoeOnHead a racist? No, I don't think so. Is she a fucking homophobe? Probably not explicitly a homophobe, but she will implicitly do some fucking homophobia because, again, she'll just fall for certain particular far-right conspiracy rabbit hole nonsense and just parrot it as if it's true and just be incredibly fucking irresponsible. What if ShoeOnHead absolutely is, like I said, very fucking irresponsible.
But I am not a grifter, flip-flopper, or a fence-sitter. I'm simply living in 2055. You see, America has been a hyper-capitalist, economically center-right, socially center-left country since about the mid-century. And I know libertarians in my audience are going to be like, it's not capitalism, it's cronyism. Okay, whatever the f you want to call it, it sucks, okay?
It's
So what if instead, and hear me out, what if instead we were a more people-focused, community-focused, working-class-focused, economically left, socially right country? All the data shows more people fall into that quadrant.
Fucking Christ, man. That's not gonna work either, dude. The younger generations, broadly speaking, are more woke than fucking ever. It's not gonna fucking work. The people just want left-leaning issues. They just want to go more to the fucking left. That's literally it. on both cultural and also economic fucking positions. The younger generations are just more to the left. That's just how it fucking is. They're not more conservative on some stuff. Also, like, this is a very, very fucking broad. What do we mean by, like, more conservative on both cultural and social issues and economic positions? Why are we trying to do, like, a whole centrism bit on all of this? Like, what the fuck is this, dude? This is Shoecialism? Shoecialism? Shoecialism. I can't fucking pronounce that, okay? I'm probably dyslexic. Shoecialism. 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 I'm gonna stop trying to pronounce that. No, this is not gonna fucking work either. If we actually care about populist policies, like you pretend to be, having protections for LGBTQ people are, broadly speaking, popular. Having protections for trans people, broadly speaking, fucking popular amongst the American populace. In terms of cultural and economic issues, the American people are left-leaning. Period. End of fucking story. No one fucking thinks like this, dude. It's very fucking stupid. Besides, like, look, more progressive on both. 46% of the fucking electorate. Again, the majority of people, in this instance, plurality of fucking people, both support left-leaning positions. Period. End of story. Socially and culturally. But I don't know. We have to do, like, some weird fuck... For someone who loves to deride centrism all the time, we now have to do some, like, weird centrism bullshit here. It's like, okay, dude, whatever. Nice meme.
The populist quadrant, the Shoecilist quadrant, if you will, than the current system we are in today. If a Shoecilist party existed, it would be incredibly popular, but it doesn't exist. And that's probably by design, honestly. The Social Democrat Party of Denmark has passed many progressive policies that liberals in America would only dream of. Protection from rent hikes, free college and healthcare, carbon taxes, and a very strong welfare system. But the Social Democrat Party also believes in a strict immigration policy. They believe that if immigration is too fast or chaotic, it puts pressure on working class communities, weakens social unity, and makes it harder to maintain their strong welfare system. Wow, what a f***ing grifter Denmark is. I feel like so many people nowadays are like terminally left-right brain to the point where like they look at issues and instead of being like, that solution makes sense to me, I believe that, I agree with that, they instead go, that's the left-wing solution, therefore I will believe in that. And it's so stupid and hyper-partisan, it makes absolutely no sense to me, and that's why I think like a lot of left-right brain hyper-partisan people don't understand me or people like me. That's why they call me...
I don't know why we're bringing in fucking immigration into this sort of like main cultural thing. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's stupid. If anything, they're making the economic argument. That's not a cultural thing. Again, broadly speaking, immigration is fine. People need immigration. The systems are already strict. The problem within immigration for America is the fact that the Republicans, broadly speaking, defund a lot of the courts and necessary sort of, not vestiges, but the necessary sort of institutions needed to administer immigration. Because again, like I've been consistently saying before during this entire video, Republicans have no issues to run on, and so have to make up issues to run on, because they can't run on policy, because broadly speaking they are highly unpopular. Their policies are just extremely, extremely unpopular. So what do they do instead? I don't know. Jingle some fucking keys about crime and fucking immigration instead, which the Democratic Party has zero effective fucking pushback on, because in reality they don't actually give much of a shit about that.
Centrist or fence sitter or flip-flopper or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm not a fence sitter. I have many strong opinions. You just don't like them. And no, I'm not a flip-flopper just because you don't understand the concept of having opinions that don't perfectly fall.
And Shoe has to bring in her own fucking grievances that lefties have accurately brought up before by bringing up a bunch of fucking bullshit. Again, the broad problem with ShoeOnHead is that she's willing to adopt certain fucking framings based off of, well, who's been her fucking partner the last time before. Currently, again, she's got a fucking Catholic fucking nationalist as her fucking husband, rather, at this moment in time. So therefore, she has to adopt more right-leaning positions. Yeah, listen, it's a little sexist of me to fucking say this. Yeah, sure, but like, unironically, this seems to be the fucking case.
on the arbitrary, always changing left-right axis that is American circus politics. There's nothing incoherent about my beliefs on paper. None of them contradict one another. I don't understand. She likes free healthcare but doesn't want to chemically castrate children? She believes in workers' rights but wants to
That's a thing that doesn't fucking happen, by the way. Again, this is what I fucking mean. Shoo, I don't know how many times this has to be said. Trans people, trans minors, generally speaking, don't get the fucking surgeries. The only time when HRT happens on a fucking goddamn minor is in extreme fucking circumstances. And trust me, there's plenty of fucking consultations about that before they go through with that shit. This is why people think you're a fucking grifter.
stricter border? I don't get it. Like, where's the contradiction? I'm basically just Bernie Sanders before he got his spine surgically removed by the DNC. In conclusion, MAGA and the Republican Party embracing populism is what made them so popular in the first place. But if the Republican Party's answer to all these issues young people are having is, F you, just move, you're not talented, maybe you'll own a home when you're 70 years old, they're doomed. Like, they had a small, brief fling with populism and ghosted it. Just pumped and dumped. Like a fat whore they're ashamed of and won't bring out.
Same thing during the first Trump administration. Again, this is just the Republican Party. This has always been the Republican Party, ideologically speaking. But she was not willing to recognize any of that on purpose.
Out on dates in public.
As I'm editing this, Trump and Mamdani had a meeting together, and it was very interesting.
We were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race.
We're game for each other
people
now.
had no idea. When he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
I'm sorry, this is my new favorite problematic Yowie ship. They love each other. Maybe it's not over, folks. Maybe the power of friendship and populism will save us all.
No, it's again, the only reason why Trump likes Zohran Mamdani is because Zohran Mamdani has main character energy, and that's the only thing that Trump cares about, is having main character energy. Unironically. Like, is it that fucking childish and ridiculous? Yes, but we're talking about Trump here, who is a child.
Listen, I want my kids to grow up in a safe and affordable world where they can get jobs and they can start a family and then they can have the same for their kids. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's what most people want, left and right. They just have different ideas on how to get there. It just so happens my ideas happen to be the correct ones, and if you disagree with them, you will...
No. Most of the shit that you say are framed in particular ways that are definitely fucking wrong, dude. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous, man. It's just like... Yeah, dude, I'm totally right about all this stuff. Now, here's how I'm going to, generally speaking, blame a lot of the left for a bunch of fucking bullshit that right-wingers have told me I have to blame the left for. It's just like, no, Shoe, that's not how any of this works, buddy. That's just not the case, man.
Will be sent to the re-education camp. Do you want one? Do you want a nuggie? Pledge your allegiance to Shoecialism and you get a nuggie. So that was that little video. If you liked it, please subscribe for more.
Your ideology is fucking dog shit and is inherently contradictory. But yeah, shouldn't really have expected much of anything else from fucking ShoeOnHead. I'm gonna be quite honest. Yeah, Shoecialism, I can't pronounce that word properly. I just can't do it. Dog shit ideology. That's my rating on this. And as expected from ShoeOnHead, continues to adopt all of the right-wing framings on a lot of these issues. For what purpose exactly? Because again, her current fucking husband is a far righter. That's like literally it. Honestly, once you, I saw this take on Twitter, and once I saw that, I was just like, oh yeah, that's like a perfect way to sort of like summarize ShoeOnHead's sort of ideological proclivities in a nutshell. Whatever her current partner sort of adopts is going to be ShoeOnHead's fucking positions. And that's just literally about it. It's just easy. It's everything becomes easier once you do it like that. Her boyfriend or her husband is, broadly speaking, a conservative fucking populist who also believes in a lot of the exact same right-wing cultural fucking bullshit that also ShoeOnHead is currently espousing right now. And that is why people, broadly speaking, think of ShoeOnHead as a fucking goddamn grifter. Don't think there's really much else to say besides, Shoe, stop doing the dumbass fucking bimbo shit and do some fucking goddamn reading and reject Shoecialism. That shit's fucking stupid and fucking lame.